In the long history of the world, there are days that stand out, moments when the course of humanity is forever altered. These are the days that echo through generations, shaping the lives of millions and changing the very fabric of society. August 6th and 9th, 1945, were such days, when the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In a matter of seconds, the world witnessed the dawn of a new and terrifying era. These bombings brought World War II to a sudden and dramatic end, but they also marked the beginning of the nuclear age, a time when the threat of unimaginable destruction became a reality for all of humanity. The destruction was instant and unimaginable. Entire cities were erased from the map, and tens of thousands of lives were lost in a blinding flash. The world had never seen devastation on such a scale. Those who survived, known as hibakusha, carried not only the physical scars of that day, but also the heavy burden of memory. Their lives were changed forever, marked by loss, pain, and the struggle to find meaning in the aftermath. Their lives were shattered, but their spirit endured. Despite overwhelming grief and hardship, the hibakusha found ways to support one another and to honor those they had lost. This is not just a story of devastation, but of resilience. In the ruins, survivors began to rebuild, not just their homes but their communities and their hope for the future. The hibakusha saw humanity at its worst, yet responded with courage and hope. They became advocates for peace, determined to ensure that the horrors they endured would never be repeated. Their stories teach us about pain, but also about compassion, solidarity, and the incredible will to rebuild. Through their actions, they showed the world the power of empathy and the importance of coming together in times of crisis. In this chapter, we will hear from those who faced the unthinkable and turned tragedy into a call for peace. Their voices remind us of the cost of war and the value of every human life. Their voices rise from the ashes, not with hatred or vengeance, but with a plea for understanding, reconciliation, and a future without nuclear weapons, a future where such tragedy is never repeated. Even after the deepest darkness, the human spirit can find hope and refuse to be broken. The story of the hibakusha is a testament to the enduring strength of humanity and the unbreakable will to seek peace. August 6, 1945 began like any other day in Hiroshima. At 8:15 a.m., the Enola Gay dropped Little Boy over the city. A blinding flash, hotter than the sun, erased Hiroshima in seconds. Buildings vanished, streets disappeared, and a black radioactive rain began to fall. Survivors wandered through ruins seeking water and help. Fires raged, and the cries of the injured filled the air. Most doctors and nurses were killed, hospitals destroyed. The survivors had only each other. They walked to the rivers, desperate for relief. In moments, a vibrant city became a wasteland. For those who lived, it was the start of a long, uncertain journey. Hiroshima's destruction was total, but the story of its people was just beginning. It was a day the world would never forget. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story is almost unbelievable. A tale of survival that defies all odds and stands as a powerful reminder of both human vulnerability and resilience. Yamaguchi was a young engineer from Nagasaki, diligent and ambitious, who found himself in Hiroshima on business in August 1945, just as the world was about to change forever. When the atomic bomb detonated over Hiroshima, he was less than 2 miles from ground zero. The force of the blast hurled him through the air, leaving him with severe burns, temporary deafness, and deep shock. Yet, against all odds, he survived the devastation and managed to find shelter amidst the chaos. The very next day, wounded and disoriented, Yamaguchi navigated the ruined streets, witnessing scenes of unimaginable destruction and suffering. Driven by a desperate hope to return home, he boarded a crowded train bound for Nagasaki, not knowing what awaited him there. On August 9th, as he recounted the horrors of Hiroshima to his boss and colleagues in a Nagasaki office, a second blinding flash lit up the sky. In a cruel twist of fate, Yamaguchi found himself at the epicenter of yet another atomic explosion. The second atomic bomb had struck Nagasaki, unleashing devastation once more. Yamaguchi, already injured, was caught in the blast but miraculously survived again. Even more astonishing, his wife and infant child who were at home in Nagasaki also survived the bombing. The family endured unimaginable trauma, but they clung to each other, grateful simply to be alive. For years, Yamaguchi kept his experiences to himself, focusing on rebuilding his life and caring for his loved ones. The scars, both physical and emotional, remained, but he found solace in the quiet moments of family life. As time passed, Yamaguchi realized that his survival carried a responsibility. He began to share his story, speaking out about the horrors he had witnessed and the suffering caused by nuclear weapons, hoping to prevent such tragedy from ever happening again. He even addressed the United Nations, urging world leaders to pursue nuclear disarmament and to remember the human cost of war. Yamaguchi's survival became a symbol of resilience, a living testament to the strength of the human spirit, and a call for peace that resonated around the world. His life showed the unimaginable cost of nuclear war and the strength to endure it. Through his courage, he reminded us all of the value of life and the importance of compassion. Yamaguchi turned his personal tragedy into a global mission, dedicating his later years to educating others and advocating for a future free from nuclear weapons. His voice, once quiet and reserved, became a powerful plea for a world without nuclear weapons, a message of hope, warning, and determination. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's legacy is a testament to human endurance, the will to survive, and the enduring hope for a peaceful world. His story continues to inspire generations to stand against the horrors of war and to cherish the gift of life. 3 days after Hiroshima, another American bomber, Boxcar, carried Fat Man toward Japan. Clouds forced a change of target, from Kokura to Nagasaki. At 11:02 a.m., the bomb exploded over the Urakami Valley. The hills contained some of the blast, but devastation in the valley was total. Factories, schools, and the great Urakami Cathedral were obliterated. Tens of thousands died instantly. Survivors faced chaos and ruin. Medical facilities were overwhelmed, many doctors and nurses among the dead. People helped each other, sharing what little they had. Nagasaki, like Hiroshima, was brought to its knees in an instant. The world now faced the consequences of a new kind of warfare. Sumiteru Taniguchi was just 16 years old, a young mailman in Nagasaki, when his life changed forever. On the morning of August 9, 1945, as he pedaled through the city's quiet streets, the world as he knew it was about to be shattered by the atomic bomb. In an instant, a blinding flash and a wave of heat threw him from his bicycle. He looked down to see the skin hanging from his arms, his back burned raw and exposed. The pain was unimaginable, and the world around him had become unrecognizable. For days, Sumiteru wandered the devastated streets, desperately searching for help. The city was in ruins, filled with cries of the wounded and the silence of loss. He was alone, his injuries worsening with every passing hour. Eventually he was rescued and taken to a makeshift hospital. There he spent nearly 2 years lying on his stomach, his back an open wound that refused to heal. The agony was constant, and every day was a battle to survive. The pain was relentless, and at times survival seemed impossible. Infection and fever threatened his life, and he often wondered if he would ever recover. Yet doctors and nurses worked tirelessly, doing everything they could to keep him alive. Their dedication and compassion gave him hope, even in the darkest moments. When he finally left the hospital, his body was forever changed. His back and arms were covered in scars, and his left arm never fully healed. The physical wounds would remain with him for the rest of his life. But Taniguchi refused to let his suffering define him. Instead, he found strength in survival, determined to share his story with the world. He became a leading advocate for peace, courageously showing his scars to audiences across Japan and beyond. He wanted people to understand the true human cost of nuclear weapons. By sharing his painful experiences, he hoped to open people's eyes and hearts, urging them to work for a world without nuclear arms. His story was not one of bitterness or revenge, but of hope, resilience, and determination. He inspired others to believe that even after unimaginable tragedy, it was possible to rebuild and to dream of peace. Taniguchi dedicated his life to a mission, to ensure that no one else would ever have to endure the suffering he had known. He spoke to students, leaders, and ordinary people, spreading his message of peace and warning against the horrors of nuclear war. He transformed his pain into purpose, becoming a symbol of resilience and hope for generations to come. His voice echoed far beyond Nagasaki, reaching people around the world and calling for a future free of nuclear weapons. Sumiteru Taniguchi's scars became a powerful message for peace, a reminder of the past, and a call to protect the future. Setsuko Thurlow was 13, decoding messages for the army in Hiroshima. A blinding flash, then darkness. She was trapped under rubble, hearing classmates cry for their mothers. A stranger's voice urged her to crawl toward the light. She emerged into a nightmare. A city vanished, people wandering like ghosts. Despite her shock, Setsuko helped comfort the dying, tearing her clothes for bandages and bringing water to the wounded. That day shaped her life. She moved to Canada but never forgot Hiroshima. Setsuko became a global advocate for nuclear disarmament. She helped lead the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. In 2017, she accepted the Nobel Peace Prize on behalf of all survivors. Her voice, once a cry in the darkness, became a call heard around the world. Setsuko Thurlow's story is a reminder, even in horror, compassion and courage endure. She turned her pain into a mission for peace. Her legacy is a world that remembers and strives for a future without nuclear weapons. After the bombings, official systems collapsed. Hospitals, police, fire departments were gone. Survivors became first responders, helping each other despite their own injuries. They shared water, pulled people from rubble, and created makeshift aid stations. Strangers became family, united by catastrophe. This spirit of compassion and resilience was the foundation for rebuilding. Communities formed support groups, helping each other heal. Hiroshima and Nagasaki rebuilt not just their cities but their sense of hope. From devastation, they forged a powerful bond and a lasting commitment to peace. The Hibakusha's wounds healed slowly, but their mission grew stronger. Many faced discrimination and kept silent, but over time they found their voices. They spoke out, not with anger, but with a plea for peace. Their message: nuclear weapons are a crime against humanity and must be abolished. Survivors traveled the world, sharing their stories at schools, conferences, and the United Nations. Their testimonies put a human face on the horror of nuclear war. They inspired millions to join the call for disarmament. Figures like Yamaguchi, Taniguchi, and Thurlow became global advocates. The Hibakusha turned their suffering into a force for good. Their stories are a warning and a hope for a nuclear-free world. They remind us that the true cost of war is measured in human lives. Their legacy is a powerful call for peace. 80 years have passed since Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but the threat of nuclear weapons remains. The Hibakusha's stories are lessons for today and tomorrow. They show us the true horror of nuclear war and the strength to rebuild. Their resilience proves hope can survive even the darkest times. We honor them by listening, sharing their stories, and working for peace. Support organizations for disarmament, encourage leaders to choose dialogue over conflict. Soon the last survivors will be gone. It will be up to us to carry their message. The call for peace must become our own. We can build a world based on empathy and understanding. The survivors' legacy is a sacred trust, a call to action for a future without nuclear weapons. Let us ensure no city ever again experiences the day the sun fell from the sky.